Okay, we're on. So, morning class. Welcome to Math 11. And today we're going to review what we learned last week, working with Trig and specifically SOHCAHTOA. Acronym SOHCAHTOA, sine, cosine, and tan. We're going to work with some worksheets, and we have to determine which ratio to use. We're not going to be told this time, so we have to identify on the triangle which sides are given and which sides we need to find, and also which angle we need to find. So we got two sets of sheets here. So I'm going to review a bit. First thing we need to do is always sketch a diagram. Now in this case we're given the diagram, so we don't have to draw the triangle, but we have to label the triangle to know which is the opposite and the adjacent and hypotenuse. So we have to know what is given and what is unknown. Then we select which ratio. Is it going to be sine? Is it going to be cosine? Or is it going to be tan? And then once we decide that, we substitute the values into our equation. And then we want to make sure that it's reasonable. And one way we can find it is reasonable, when we have a right angle triangle, the hypotenuse always has to be the longest side. So if I have 3 and 4 and 5, and 5 is my answer, then we're okay. But if I had 3, 4, and 2, then I know it's not reasonable because 2 is smaller than these, and this has to be the longest side. The side opposite the right angle always got to be the longest side. So, example, I don't know if I got that in there, but I'll do an example. The first set is 2 pages of finding the missing side, and the next set is finding the missing angle. So let's just look at the first one. Here I have a triangle. The given angle here is 42 degrees. They tell me one side is 8, and there's my unknown side. So the first thing you got to do is label it. So this is my given angle. That means this side is opposite over here. I'm looking directly opposite the angle. This is my right angle, so my long side is my hypotenuse. And then the only side that's left is the side next to my angle, which is the adjacent. So I'm looking for the opposite side. That's where my x is. I'm given the adjacent side. So looking at my acronym, SOHCAHTOA, the trig ratio that includes O and A, opposite and adjacent, is tan. So I have to use tan. So I would go tan of my given angle, 42 degrees, is equal to my opposite side over my adjacent, TOA. So tan 42. The opposite side I don't know. It's x, and my adjacent side is 8. Remember, when we have equalities, proportional statements, any number, rational number, can be put over 1. It doesn't change the value. Now to solve it, I just cross multiply. So my first thing is 1 times x, which is x, 1x, equals tan 42 times 8. Times 8. Then I go to my calculator. And I put in 42. Depending on your calculator, you might have to put tan in first. When I hit tan, it changes it to the tan fraction, 0.90, and a whole bunch of digits across it. I multiply it by 8 in this case, times 8. And my answer is 7.20. So I'm just going to put 7.2. So that will be my answer. So the missing side, in this case here, has a value of 7.2. It asked me to round to the nearest tenth, which means it has to go just to one place after. Okay. The second type of questions we need to work with is finding the angles. Finding the angle. So let's just pick out, well, first of all, here it says find the angle measured to the nearest degree. Well, there is my ratio, 2.0503. They want to know what angle that is. So I have to go to my calculator. Now, on your calculator, you're either going to have a button like this, or it could be a shift button or a second button, depending on the type of calculator. So, I'm not sure which one goes in first, but let's try it this way. 2.0503. I'm going to shift it up to 10, and it tells me my angle is 63.999. The question asks me to find it to the nearest degree. So it means I got to round it off. If it's 63.999, to the nearest degree, I have to round it to 64. So there's no decimal because this is a 9. This goes up to 4, so it's 64 degrees. So if you do the same for these, some of them are cos, some of them are sine. Then looking at an example of a triangle here, they want to find the measure of the indicated angle. Indicated means the one that has the question mark. In this case here, they want to know what size is that angle to the nearest degree. So we don't have any fractions in the answer. So again, we need to label this. So there's my right angle. The side opposite of it is my hypotenuse. The side opposite the reference angle is the opposite side, and the only other side left is the adjacent side. Now, I'm given 51, which is opposite, and 55, which is hypotenuse. So O and H. Again, refer back to my little memory trick here. So Katoa, the one that has O and H. Right first. So, Katoa. So that's got to be sine. So I write the sine. Now this time I don't know what that angle is, so I'm going to use this Greek symbol. It's just a circle with a line through it. That's called theta in Greek letters. So sine theta equals opposite side over hypotenuse. Sine of theta will equal 51 over 55. Now, if I divide 51 by 55, clear this, 51 divided by 55. My decimal fraction is 0.927. That's my sine ratio. Now I have to go to my second function. So I press this arrow here to make sure that what you're seeing is the sign with the negative at the top. That's your second function sign. And my angle is 68.01. You want to the nearest degree, so it would be 68. And round it off, 68 degrees. So my angle is 68 degrees. All right, so that's an example of finding missing side, finding the angle from given a fraction, and then using your two sides, finding the missing angle. Remember, not all of these are sines. Some are going to be cosines, some will be trig. You have to establish which one to look for. Any questions? All right, so I'm going to hand out sheets to the class here, and I'll send the PDF of the sheets to class at home. I think I have them actually. This is the first one. I'll have to clear it off for the class before I send it home. So I'm going to pause this.